Switzerland is known for many things: watches, cheese, questionable banking practices, but upon visiting the country there were some things that really stuck out to me, like cows. Cows are everywhere, herds of cows blocking entire roads. They have signs warning of cows that are over 5 kilometers long. I don't know what a kilometer is, but that seems like a big cow. The other thing that stuck out to me is transportation infrastructure. The Swiss have an unquenchable need to build transportation in places that no sane person would even consider. Swiss civil engineering is on another level, well beyond the capabilities or desires of regular pedestrian civil engineers in other countries. The Swiss have bridges and rock walls holding up narrow roads on the sides of mountains that normal countries would have written off as laughably impassable. Once they've dominated the landscape with roads, they bore tunnels 12 miles long through solid rock. There are so many tunnels in this country: car tunnels, train tunnels, people tunnels, tunnels that are only 2/3 of a tunnel. They even put tunnels in their cheese. For 20 years, they had the longest car tunnel in the world. The Gotthard Tunnel, finished in 1980, cuts through 17 kilometers of mountain. That's over 3 cows long. Honestly, it felt a lot longer than that, more like 10.5 miles. The tunnel has over a mile of rock above it at its deepest. My temperature gauge read 39 degrees cold, but to me it felt at least 102 degrees freaking hot. The tunnel gets hot inside because it is literally closer to liquid hot magma. They originally bored this tunnel in the 70s from 2 different directions, and when they met in the middle, the deviation was only 8 centimeters, which is a small fraction of 1 cow. I know I'm rambling about a tunnel, but this is impressive. It's so impressive that I, a mechanical engineer, am saying nice things about civil engineers. We don't usually do that. We usually look down on them with a disdain that is frankly neither fair nor justified. Basically the same way that electrical engineers look at mechanical engineers. Even when roads and tunnels will not reach a place, the Swiss build gondolas and funiculars up the sides of cliff walls and then build whole-ass towns on top of those cliffs. Unbelievable. The Italians are similar, with winding roads up mountains, but the roads are narrower, the tunnels darker, and the switchbacks more dangerous. I spent 2 weeks riding around the Alps, going over dozens of mountain passes, including a few that have been called the best driving roads in the world. And I have opinions. The motorcycle for this adventure is the MV Agusta Turismo Veloce R. I've wanted to review this bike ever since I needed a reason to write off the rental fee as a business expense. This was the perfect situation to really test out the capabilities of this Italian touring machine. You can't test this where I live. You need the challenging terrain of the Alps, interspersed with delicious food, wine, and beer, all completely necessary business expenses required to make this video. And I have to say, this is not a good bike. The transmission is the worst I've used in years. It's hard to get into neutral when you want it, and it'll slip into neutral frequently on the 1-2 shifts when you don't. The indicator lights on the dash are barely visible in sunlight. The cruise control interface is clunky. The dash has barely any useful information. It stalls at slow speeds when it's cold. It sounds like a cheap tractor, and it feels like it has half the claimed horsepower. We only saw one other one in the 2 weeks of riding among thousands of other bikes, so apparently even the Italians know not to buy it. People will stop to check it out, but they might just be wondering why someone bought it. When you turn on the dash, it gives a logo with the words "Motorcycle Art." And I think after riding it for a while, I realized that I'm really looking for motorcycle engineering. I know I'm going hard against this bike, but it's not all bad. The seat is comfortable and the seating position is good. The steering and suspension geometry is pretty good for all the various riding we did. And the windshield and fairing does a pretty good job of directing the wind around the rider. Still, it has the overall quality of a used Kawasaki Versys. I did not regret renting this bike for 2 weeks, although I would regret it if I had bought it. Certainly if I had paid full price. But either way, it was perfectly adequate for the challenge at hand. We started our journey in Switzerland, the land of tunnels and cows and well-maintained roads. There are 2 excellent passes right next to each other, the Grimsel and the Furka. Both of these passes have no right to exist. Only a country drunk on melted cheese would build roads up these mountains. The Grimsel Pass is a series of switchbacks built into the mountain with walls of rock. It is made most impressive by the fact that there are 2 proper lanes with hairpin turns plenty large for spirited riding and driving. The Furka Pass is right next to it, and it is perhaps most famous for being in the James Bond movie Goldfinger. This one is even more impressive, with switchbacks hanging off the side of a mountain and bridges crossing over a deep crevice right in the middle. Again, shockingly bold choice by the Swiss, and a good, fun road with a decent number of other enthusiasts. We hit something like 20 mountain passes on this trip. I stopped counting after a while. Most of the passes have a hotel at the top that's been closed for years, but there's often a restaurant on the ground floor that serves food and hot cappuccino, which was really nice on a couple of cold, rainy passes. The weather can be highly variable here. Many of the passes have been around for hundreds of years, with some of them dating back thousands. The Great St. Bernard Pass has been used since the Bronze Age. Most of them are similar enough that they blended together in my mind, although there is a pretty clear distinction between the Swiss side and the Italian side. Where the Swiss have clearly marked lanes and wide hairpins, the Italian passes are designed with a more Italian attitude. The drivers are different too. In Switzerland, they follow the rules, and you are also expected to follow the rules, or they will let you know. In Italy, there are rules you're not supposed to follow, and you have to figure out which ones they are, lest you get real-life Italian hand emojis waved at you. Nobody lane splits in Switzerland, and everybody lane splits in Italy, even though it's technically illegal in both countries. The embodiment of the Italian Alps road philosophy is Stelvio Pass. This pass has been called the best driving road in the world, and I have wanted to make a video about this road ever since I needed a good reason to write off my travel as a business expense. This is not the best driving road in the world. This is not the best driving road in this general area. It is a road barely narrow enough to fit 2 small cars by. There is no dividing line, the barrier is laughably low, and the switchbacks have a corner radius of 0. The road itself is a challenge, but the other drivers make it an ordeal. The cyclists wouldn't be a problem if not for their sheer numbers. The cars take up 2/3 of the narrow road, and the motorcyclists use the entire outside of the turns, irrespective of which side they're supposed to be on. We saw multiple people drop their bikes because they were trying to avoid all the obstacles, one of the obstacles being other people who have dropped their bikes. Still, other obstacles are ambulances on the way to pick up the people who have dropped their bikes. This is only the best driving road if you like staring death directly in the face while navigating around tight switchbacks and also 300 other insane people. But maybe I'm just not Italian enough. This was somewhat our fault because we did go on a weekend. So there were lots of people, and there seemed to be at least 2 different bicycle races happening at once. So we returned a couple of days later, midweek, after a light rain, and it was empty. And let me tell you, when it is empty, it is still not great. Better, for sure. I realize that I'm judging a driving road and I'm not driving, I'm riding a motorcycle, but I'm sure a car would be worse. And even with an empty road and a small Italian sports car, I'd rather be a dozen other places in the Alps. A great motorcycle road is very similar to a great driving road. It has a variety of turns, from long sweepers to medium corners and hairpins. It has good visibility and a smooth, consistent surface, climbs, descents, camber, flow, space to move around, and beautiful scenery. The Stelvio has 87 hairpin turns, with not much else. It has extremely limited visibility, it's too narrow, there are too many obstacles, and there is no flow. It is an impressive road in that it even exists, zigzagging up a mountainside, rock walls and concrete clinging to the edge. And it is beautiful. The view from the top may be why it gets so much attention. Hairpin turns look dramatic. And that's what this road is, the world's greatest dramatic-looking road. If I had to pick a favorite in the area, it would be the San Bernardino Pass. It has a variety of corners, good visibility, plenty of room, and beautiful scenery. There are a reasonable amount of other riders and drivers with interesting cars, several beautiful alpine lakes, and on the way to it, you can see castle ruins dating back to the 7th century. It also has a handful of annoying switchbacks just to keep it interesting. Just don't tell people that it is the best driving road in the world, because then come the throngs of Porsches and bicycles and ambulances, and it'll all be ruined. Truthfully, there are too many great roads out here to pick one, often, Bernina, Hulier. The Italian side has some amazing roads too. We rode around the Sella, a group of compact mountains famous for snow skiing. There were several great passes around there. The Campolongo, Gardena, Portio, and Sella passes. Mix in the Swiss side and there are so many amazing driving roads. You could spend a whole summer out here and never get bored. The Swiss side has plenty of excitement because you might die. The Italian side has even more excitement because you probably will die. Even with a mediocre motorcycle, stressful traffic, and dangerous corners, this was an excellent ride, a fantastic experience. It came with an absolutely beautiful backdrop, and it was, for sure, a necessary tax-deductible business expense. Used to be you had to impress people to get people to watch your show, but now all you have to do is impress the algorithm. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. All hail the algorithm.